All right, welcome to your .LA weekly recap of the hottest news in the LA tech media and startup scene. I'm Kelly O'Grady, .LA's chief host and correspondent. I'm going to take you through just the headlines you need to know to stay smart in the space, so let's jump in. Okay, so by far the biggest story this week was our Green Rush series. After months of investigation, our own Tammy Abdullah captivated us with a tale of inexperience, Russian investment, frivolous spending, and of course, weed. Puff, Bush, White Widow super cheese. All right, I'm going to stop quoting the gentleman, but with the last installment out Monday, here's what you need to know. Okay, so LA's Genius Fund was the vision of two college friends and backed by a Russian oligarch who invested $164 million into the project. Less than 2 years later, the money's gone, the oligarch's dead. They had zero agriculture experience, yet tried to run an operation to grow 1.7 million cannabis plants, or the equivalent of 1,000 football fields of hemp. They also desperately tried to spin out a line of cannabis products, but they all failed. And in his whistleblower retaliation lawsuit, the former CEO calls it a sordid tale of corporate mismanagement, subterfuge, and fraud involving an amalgam of shell companies. We call it a cautionary tale for the cannabis industry. Okay, so another huge piece of news this week came from media. Unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably heard of the TikTok soap opera that's going on. Okay, so here's what you need to know. The president has signed an executive order banning the Chinese-owned app on September 15th due to security concerns over China having access to U.S. consumer data, unless a U.S. company buys it. Now that's where Microsoft comes in. So they're looking to buy a seat at the social media video entertainment table to compete with the likes of YouTube and Instagram in one fell swoop. Now the transaction would reportedly only be for the US, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia operations, but there are rumors that Microsoft is going after the global business as well. So the complicating factor here is that competitors Triller and Instagram's Reels have shot onto the scene and are aggressively taking away users and creators from TikTok, begging the question, what is the app even going to look like at the end of this 45-day period? A few questions on my mind are, what price will the asset go for? What will TikTok look like in other regions? And what will happen to former Disney D2C chairman, who's now the CEO of TikTok, Kevin Mayer? For more on this, check out our website. And in the latest on COVID, Los Angeles is expected to roll out test kiosks later this month from Curative Inc. The kiosks will process about 500 tests a day with a turnaround time of 24 to 48 hours and are an alternative to the city's drive-thrus, which can be difficult for those that don't have cars. The company is also rolling out a mobile unit that's being deployed to hotspots around Los Angeles. Curative has administered about 1 million tests in Los Angeles and is averaging about 18,000 a day, with an eye towards growing its capacity further. For more on this from Rachel Urenga, check out our website. Okay, so a fun one. Every quarter, .LA and PitchBook collaborate on the 50 hottest startups in LA. And this week, Q2's list came out. So despite a black swan event and the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression, plenty of LA startups are continuing to survive and even thrive during the pandemic, with many winners being beneficiaries of the work from home world. So Quibi topped the list at number 1 with its $1.75 billion raise in funds, and some other notable industries included software and media companies heavily represented in the top 10. Check out our website to see the full list of startups and find out more about what criteria landed them from Ben Bergman. Quick roundup of the investing news this week. So Microsoft's venture fund M12 led a $35 million investment round in Sentient, a semiconductor making company that's producing tiny voice recognition chips smaller than a flea that are faster than many others in the market. The prescription marketplace platform GoodRx has filed with the SEC for a potential IPO. They were valued at $2.8 billion back in 2018, and startup studio Alive Ventures raised $12 million to fund entrepreneurs designing products for a graying population. Seniors have often been overlooked by designers, but the growing spending power of baby boomers is changing that. For more on these stories from our newsroom, check out the links below. Okay, last thing, we released another episode of .LA Dives In this week. I chatted with the CEO and founder of Veo, Christoph Birsch, about his goal to democratize nutrition. So what started as a way for elite athletes and actors like Kevin Love, Todd Gurley, Hugh Jackman, and even Vin Diesel to optimize their performance is now available to the masses, all in a 100% biodegradable pod, which will soon be completely water soluble. We also hosted an event focusing on the future of sports with the COO of the Rams and president of Angel City, the new women's soccer club in LA. If you want to watch either of these videos, head to our website or check out the links below. All right, that wraps up my weekly recap. For more on these stories, more news this week, and to check out the awesome events we're hosting, visit us on our website, sign up for our daily newsletter, and be sure to follow us on Instagram so you don't miss our exclusive video content. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Kelly O'Grady for .LA.